chapter, commencing in verse 16, including verse 18. If you have it, say amen. If you don't have it, say wait. Nehemiah. Chapter 16 reads as thus. So it was that time on that half of my servants worked at construction, while the other half held the spears, the shields, the bows, and war armor. And the leaders were behind all of the house of Judah. Verse 17 says, So those who built on the wall and those who carried burdens loaded themselves so that with one hand they worked at construction, and with the other held a weapon. And every one of the builders had his sword girded at his side as he built. But watch this. And the one who sounded the trumpet was beside me. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. If I could put a title to this message today, it would be, if you build it, they will come. They being your doubters, your naysayers, your skeptics, your cynics, the antagonists and the pessimists. If you build it, they'll come. And I want you to look at this hashtag, get ready. And I want you to listen and view this sermon from the lens or through the filter of a church that's on a move. A church that's ready to build, a church that's ready to buy, a church that's ready to purchase. And I want you to look at it from the lens or the filter of somebody who's ready to work to get that accomplished. But if you build it, they're going to come. I'll give you a slight backdrop here. Nehemiah shares a common denominator with Ezra and Esther, because outside of these sacred canonized texts, they're never mentioned again from Genesis to Revelations. And Nehemiah is, in fact, according to antiquated theologians, Ezra 2 or 2nd Ezra. Now, if you go back to the Greek Septuagint or the Latin Vulgate, Nehemiah is part of the book of Ezra. However, when it was canonized by the Catholic Church, they decided to separate these two books so that Ezra and Nehemiah weren't one book, but two books, distinctive books with two distinctive messages. Are you with me? And if you're a biblical scholar, any biblical scholar in the building, you are acutely aware that Ezra gives background information about what it takes to rebuild the church, while Nehemiah talks about rebuilding the city. In chronological order, before you can rebuild the city, you must first rebuild the church. And in the 21st century church, many people who have a vision for ministry have their order out of place. They're talking about taking the city, but not have established the church. But as you look through the purview of Scripture, you'll notice in all biblical order, you have to make sure the temple's foundation is in place. Do I have a witness here? And then God will give you the keys and the tools to rebuild the city. Now, Nehemiah's name is translated as Jehovah Comforts. You have to understand that that's probably not familiar or popular with the new trend of money cometh or prosperity theology, because we're all familiar with Jehovah Jireh, the God that provides. But what does it mean when it says God comforts? God is different from provision. Comfort is different from provision, because he gives Nehemiah a vision to rebuild the wall, but he does not provide him money, he does not provide him laborers, and he does not provide him material, but he gives him comfort in knowing that he's doing his purpose. Do I have a witness here? You know that you're walking circumspectly in the will of God when you can be happy doing your purpose, even when you don't have all the money, and you don't have all the answers. You know that you are walking in accordance to his will when you are doing his purpose and you don't even have the support, but you're walking and operating in that which God has called you to do. And you know that you're effective when you're doing it without provision. Do I have a witness here? And you can feel God comforting you. There are a lot of people who can't do what you do because they need provision. But there are a remnant of believers without provision who now operate with that outdated word called faith. Do I have a witness here? So even if I can't see how it's going to happen, even if I can't see the end result, even if I can't see the forest for the trees, God promised me when the bank says no, God says yes. Because I know the Lord will make a way somehow. Do I have a witness here?